check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Well, hello.
Hi.
Michael Moore.
Welcome to Highly Uncircumcised with Nicole Juergens and Michael, full of anger Moore this morning.
Michael is full of anger. Would you like to tell everybody what's going on?
Full of it. No.
Crabby pants. Why?
Why? How do you spell why?
Get it all out. Feel the emotions, Michael Moore. Let yourself feel the emotions.
Handle that right
now.
No.
You need to let it out. Let everybody know what's going on, what's happening, what the problem is. Because then I have something to share with you that I have a confession to make. But please, you first.
Okay. I just want to first and foremost say that Elon Musk better watch his back. Okay.
Oh God! If this is what you're angry about, I take it back. I do not want to hear it. I don't want you to feel your emotions. I don't want any of it, of this epic nerd saga. Like no. Nope. I changed my mind. Remember when I said feel the feelings? Like no, keep them inside. Just keep them in there. And I'm going to tell you.
Bottle this stuff up. You want me to
bottle it up. Bottle it up.
Boy, next time I see you. I got something for you. Listen.
No,
I was only going to say.
No, you listen.
You want me to listen?
Yes.
Or are you listening?
I want you to listen. I want you to listen right now.
Okay,
I don't want to hear about the nerd tales.
It's not the nerd tales, man. He's manipulating all the
confession. I want to make a confession, and this is very important stuff. Super important.
Go ahead.
Remember how I would always make fun of you for loving the Avenger movies?
Are you loving the Avenger movies right now?
Well, the confession I have to make is number one.
I don't know if I can handle this. Hold on. Let me just brace myself here. Oh my gosh. Before you say what you have to say, just know that every Saturday night in the Moore house is family movie night, and we are watching all the movies from start to finish in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Go. Oh my God.
So the confession is number one, that I made fun of you all this time for loving those movies without actually having watched them. And I'm talking about specifically the Avenger series, right? The 4 movies, right? I never even watched one of them, not one. And the second part of the confession is I did watch the first one yesterday with my kids, and it was amazing. And I loved it. And I don't know why I would think I wouldn't like it, because I like every movie, but I had to confess to you that I really actually enjoyed it, of course. And so now we can proceed to discuss it, but there's specifically a couple parts that I want to talk about, but please, you can castigate me now.
No, I was actually going to give you I'm giving you a big screen hug right now. Mwah, right on your cheek and forehead. Mwah. Are you kidding me right now? You just did something to my heart right now. Do you know that, Nicole Juergens? See, this is why you are you, because there's not many people who could just jump on in this thing right here just like that. Just jump in. You just jumped in and set up residency. I love you right now in a way that I've never loved you before. I can't believe you did what you did when you watched those. Do you know how many years you have been talking crap about me for loving Marvel Universe? Do you know how many years you've been trying to make me feel just stupid because I wasn't wanting to talk about the art house flicks and all this kind of stuff, which I do watch? But you always wanted to make me feel like I just didn't have any sort of, movie critical thinking acumen.
To be fair, it wasn't about the art house flicks, because I don't care about those either. It is just a whole dude idea of like, oh, good versus evil. I was like, ugh. But I do I want to say 2 things. One, to our viewers, you're welcome for me ending the epic nerd saga. And number 2, I want to talk about Loki. Do you know why?
Before you talk about Loki, I need to tell you something. I need to make a confession to you and to all 43 of our viewers. Okay. I cry every time I watch the Avengers Endgame. I don't know if you've actually seen Endgame.
I haven't. I haven't seen any of them. I only saw the first one.
You actually need to come over to my house for a family movie night and bring your kids and watch the Avengers Endgame with me and my family. It's an emotional thing. Anyway, go. I need to hear everything you're thinking about this. I'm so excited right now.
I don't think you're going to be as excited when I talk about this because you know where my brain goes, right? By the way, I don't know if we have this recorded, but Michael said to me, he's like, do you ever just feel like you're out in the middle of the ocean drowning in 6 feet of water when you're talking? Like, so much my brain might make you feel like that when we have conversations. That happens. Sometimes I do feel that way, drowning, yes. So my question is, he brings up what I think is a very interesting point. This is Loki talking about human beings and how their natural inclination is not towards freedom.
I actually knew you were going there, and I don't know why.
You did not. Don't lie. You did not.
I 100% knew you were going there, but I thought it was one of two things I thought you might bring up, but that was one of them. Are you asking me, do I agree with Loki? Is that the question?
I want to play this video because I'm going to try a screen share here. We haven't done it before, but just so our viewers, in case they haven't seen the Avengers, this doesn't give away any of the movie or anything. This is just the first one that was made in 2012, like forever ago. If you haven't seen it, go see it. Like, I'm not going to
I can't believe I'm hearing this right now. Oh my God. This is so good. This is so good. I just want to stop recording right now and drive to your house and give you a hug. I don't know what you've done right now. You've done what you did.
By the way, all of our viewers are men. So
shout out to Diane.
If there happens to be one woman watching, this is how you make a man happy. There you go. There's a secret. They watch these trashy action flicks. There you go. But I want to play this speech and hopefully this works out. So let me see. Let's see here. Share. Yes.
Oh, they're in for such a treat this day. This is just so good. You guys don't even know how good this is. What Nichoel has blessed us all with today. This woman would not give me an ounce of love on the Avengers movies in any way, shape, or form. I'm tickled.
I'm hoping this works out so that yes, there it is. Okay, let's watch this.
Kneel before me. I said, kneel! Is not this simpler? Is this not your natural state? It's the unspoken truth of humanity that you crave subjugation. The bright lure of freedom diminishes your life's joy in a mad scramble for power, for identity. You were made to be ruled.
And you know what?
What?
He might be right.
Hey, so I need for you to go back. Today is Monday. This is a Monday, people. I need you to go back to Thursday when you and I had our knockdown, drag out COVID-19 vaccination conversation off stream where nobody could hear, but me and you were
just
going
as a side note, there was a lot of yelling.
There was a lot. I was just about to tell him, we were going in on each other, in. We haven't been in on each other like that in a long time. I actually liked it. It was a good thing for me. The reason why I'm bringing that up is because I don't know if you remember me saying, because you hit me with the whole anyway, we won't go into vaccination stuff, but you basically hit me with, I'm following the pack or something like that kind of thing. And I basically
That's
let
not
you.
fair to say, because then they're going to think I think a certain way.
No. The conversation was so nuanced and long. Anyone who tries to glean anything from what I'm saying in that conversation, just stop, because the conversation was literally 2 hours long where we were just going in on each other. But I'm making a point based on today's topic, and that is, I let you know that my thinking is that 90 to 95% of human beings are sheep, and will follow whatever's leading them, whatever that thing may be that's leading them. And 5% of us are goats. And I let you know that, in my opinion, I'm a goat, because I don't just swallow anything hook, line, and sinker. But long story short, I believe 100% what Loki said right there. 100%. Whoever wrote that particular scene, they are a Michael Moore, probably Nicole Jurgens, because you and I are both the same in that way. We definitely do our own thinking and research and formulating of opinions and ideas on our own, as opposed to, and are willing to let people know what we think, right? So
We have
there's
no
probably
problem with that.
there's probably a lot of people that actually do that same thing, but they're such sheep that they're not even willing, and I guess that's what makes them a sheep. They're not willing to actually espouse the things that are going on in their mind, for fear of judgment or criticism or whatever the case may be. You want to say something? Proceed.
Yes, I want to say that I would agree with you, right? I think that we think for ourselves, you and I, right? And I think that we're doing the work to figure out what it is we really want and who we really are. And this all melds together with all of our episodes, right? This is like the running theme and everything we talk about. But do we? Like, that's what I'm wondering. Like, maybe I am just meant to be subjugated. Like, maybe, like, because as much as you try to build your life and do the things that you want to do, sometimes you just fall back so easily into this like victim mentality, like, oh, woe is me and everybody else is a problem, and this nerd guy over here messed up my life because of his cryptocurrency. And like, we, and me especially in this last year, like, I've just sat here wishing somebody would just fix my life for me, right? Like, I was like, oh my God, I was like, maybe we were meant to be subjugated. I was like, maybe we need Loki to come down and we can just live this comfortable life where we just kneel and we just do the shit we're meant to do. And
no, you're actually, my friend, you're talking about two different concepts, in my opinion. You're talking about, one would be comfort and ease of navigation through life, and one is, would my life be easier if I allowed someone to lead me? So those are two very different things. I'm all for, just comfort on a huge level. I want it. I want it desperately. Which is why I can't stand Elon Musk right now. But anyway, but the other thing would be needing someone like Loki, or I don't know, Adolf Hitler, to just take control and lead us, right? So the number one defense for the guys who are at the and I brought Hitler up for a reason. The number one defense for the guys at the Nuremberg trials, and I'm sure you're familiar with the Nuremberg trials, was basically that we were taking orders. We were doing what we were told to do, and that's what soldiers do. I love service people. I love the concept of an army, a navy, an air force, and Marines. I love those guys. I take pride in America's armed forces. I've had family members that have served. And with that said, the one thing that I can't stand about the military, let's use the military, is you cannot question orders. That is the reason why, that is one of the main reasons why I just wouldn't have worked out in any sort of service capacity in terms of serving, like, any branch of the military. Because if I'm in a war situation and my superior tells me to shoot these 10 people who are not any sort of threat to me or my comrades, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I can't do it. I can't just accept orders because the orders were given from somebody who has a couple more stripes on their shoulder than I do. And that, leading back to the whole sort of premise of this particular show, is the problem with most people. Most people, even though they know, and there have been studies done on this, by the way, most people, even knowing when something is wrong, will still do it just to not buck the system, whatever that system may be. 99.99% of people know absolutely when they are doing something that is wrong, whether it is legal, moral, ethical, financial, whatever the case may be. They know what they're doing is wrong, and yet they still don't have the temerity or the gumption or the chutzpah or the balls to just buck the system. Say, you know what, F you. I'm not doing that. It's wrong. You're scared to lose your job. You're scared to lose your rank if you're in the service. Police officers, and we've talked about this when we did the whole Derek Chauvin trial episode. You know, the one thing that bothers me about the police, as much as I do love and appreciate people who are willing to sacrifice and be police officers in this world, is I can't stand that blue wall. It's almost like accepted. There's going to be a blue wall. The officers are not going to rat on their fellow officers, and that's so wrong. Let me just tell you something in this. This may be pearls for some of our listeners, especially as we grow, and hopefully that we get thousands and millions of listeners, and hopefully some of them are actually like young people that need some wisdom. To Michael Moore, I do not speak for Nicole Juergens. I speak for Michael Moore right now. Ratting and telling the truth are two different things. To me, if I get in a car with someone and I know we are going to rob a bank, okay? And we go to rob that bank and we end up getting caught, but my partners don't get caught. I'm too slow. I ran out of the bank. They were faster than me. They got away, whatever the case may be. Ratting is telling on them, okay? Because we were all doing something wrong and they had the good fortune of not getting caught. Ratting is not seeing, for instance, a police officer beat the shit out of someone not on camera and then corroborating that officer's story that the person they beat up was a threat, knowing that they weren't a threat. You're just protecting them. You're just not saying anything because it's that blue wall. Those are two very different things. And the 95% of people fall into the, I just don't want to say anything because I don't want all the waves. Proceed.
So here's where we're going to start going down the whirlpool of the ocean.
Let's go. Let me buckle up.
You see,
Okay,
you're on top of the bridge and you see that big, and it's so
Yes.
cool. It's so cool looking, but now you're in it. Okay. Right. So Loki also says, like, does the boot have a quarrel with the ant? Right. So now imagine that we're the ant, right? And we like to think of like ants, like, oh, this is an ant, this is stupid. This, like, we crush them, we just walk on them and crush them and we burn them with
They're the hardest workers in the animal kingdom.
Right. But we think of them as nothing, right? So now imagine there's Loki and his gods out there thinking of us as like nothing. Are we free?
I'm so, golly, you're just tickling my heart.
We're going down.
Today.
We're going down.
No,
we're going around.
You have my heart just in such a good space. I came into this thing and I was ready to throw the monitor, and I was just, it was so bad. You have done something. Look at your little rosy cheeks. You have done this today for me. Now let me answer that question for you. We are absolutely free. Okay. So I've given thought to some things, and maybe we're just going to go all over the place today because this topic is just so tasty, and I'm so I cannot believe you watched the Avengers. But as a Black person, okay, a Black American, I have often given thought to what do I look like in a slave period of time? Meaning, what does Michael Moore look like in the 1800s, 1700s, 1600s, and all that? Do I exist? Can I exist is a better way to put it. And oftentimes my thought goes to no, because I could not let someone whip me, beat me, denigrate me, all the things that came with being a slave in America. But then I try and, kind of really, really, really put myself in those shoes, and what are my options? I can run, how far could I get? And if, do I really want the consequences of what happens when I get caught? But then I think about people like Nat Turner, who organized like slave revolts and all that kind of stuff. And I think to myself, you know what? It kind of doesn't matter what situation you're in ever. You always have choice. So I don't care.
Or is it destiny?
You know what? Honestly, you just drained me just a little bit. So, but don't worry, you're still in the positive, but you took back some of your points right there. Okay. No, we're not talking about choice versus destiny. I'm just saying in any situation you're in, you have choice. And my argument about destiny had nothing to do with specific choices. So let's not go down that hole, dear. Listen, I'm saying that if someone comes up to me with a gun and is like, give me your wallet, I don't actually have to give them my wallet. I could just, as you and I both are fully aware of the whole bluff concept, I could try and pull their bluff card and see, are they really about it? And do they really have it in them to shoot me? I could try and fight back. I could run. I could just scream, which I most likely
That's the one.
You always laugh at
Gaia.
you always laugh at me. I'm like, and just hope some young lady comes and rescues me. Rape. He's like, no, I just want your wallet. I'm like, hey, rape. He's a raper. Oh my God, you really just revealed way too much about our conversations. But anyway, I have choice in that situation. I can handle that the way that I see fit. Now, there are always consequences to whatever choice you make, right? If I try and pull his bluff, maybe he's really about it, and I just get shot dead right there. If I run, maybe he's faster than me, and he still catches up, and I have to scream rape, right? Or whatever needs to happen there. The bottom line is, Loki and any other gods out there still are subjected to my free will. As a human being, I have a God-given free will to make the choice that I need to make in whatever situation, right? Sometimes we make the wrong choice.
And sometimes the situation is really bad, but we're still free, is what you're saying.
We're free. We're absolutely positively free. And I actually give that concept thought on a macro level. A lot of times I think, don't people know, like, if we actually used our minds and our intellect and we came together as a people, we could change anything we wanted to change on this earth. We could change racism. We could change economies. Like, literally, we could crash the world economy if people got together and just said, you know what? Why am I paying $5 for a gallon of gas? Let's all sit this thing out. Let's all not show up to the gas pump for 1 month and see if Arco and Exxon and all these people really have to charge me $5 a month, or for a gallon of gas. What else? Politically, right? We accept all of the nonsense that these do-nothing politicians sell us every 2 and 4 years, knowing damn well all they care about is getting reelected. They don't care about you, and they don't care about me. And if we wanted to, we could literally just destroy this two-party system we have in America if we all came together using our intellect and tried to reconstruct a new political system.
Well, I think that's the interesting point, because I think that's where, when I think about it, we get caught up is if we are all free, and we're all meant to think for ourselves, will the natural inclination be towards positive, towards good, towards benefiting humanity? And I think the answer is yes, but I think that's what scares people, is that, and why we want to be told what to do, why we want somebody who we think knows more than us or better than us, or that's going to keep us safe. And I think that's a lot of the worry of, when you're talking about the COVID, is that people want to feel safe. And so whatever that I need to do that, that's what I'm going to do. And it's not just with COVID, it's everything in life. We've become so addicted to safety. Like, we can't be uncomfortable for a minute. And this is where I feel like, well, maybe I'm not free. Cause like literally I in my own life, I get uncomfortable and I immediately like, forget it. I'm gonna go watch Netflix for 2 hours because I'm too uncomfortable trying to do this work to change the person I am, like my menial little stupid problems become uncomfortable and immediately I can't handle it, and so this is, I think, as weird as it sounds, and again, I'm just gonna have to follow me. This is how it happens.
Hey,
As weird as
right
it
behind you,
sounds, I think that society in general, we do that. We want to listen to somebody else that for a moment makes us feel safe. But if we do the work to listen in here, and again, we've talked about this before, like, what's your story, and don't have the tools and the resources to have done that work and to know what to do with it. But if we all did, we would, I think, naturally work together. It would be out of love. It would be, it wouldn't be all of this constant like divisiveness. Like, oh my God. Like, I think we know naturally, we're born naturally understanding, like, we're all just connected. We're all just the same. We're all one energy being, whatever it's. But the way we've raised ourselves. Oh, there's a good quote in the book I told you to read. Did you ever read it? The Four Agreements?
That's my book. You borrowed my book.
This is your copy?
Yes.
Oh, see, no, well, you didn't read it for like a year, so like I need to borrow it. But hold on a second, I want to read this. So, like, the very first chapter is called "Domestication and the Dream of the Planet."
Yes, I remember what the first chapter is called.
Oh, you read the first chapter? I'm proud
Yes.
of you.
Yes.
It only took 12 months.
Using my brain and all.
Right. So for about 4 pages, he talks about basically since the minute you are born, what happens, talks about, we are dreaming all the time. Before we're born, the humans before us created a big outside dream that we call society's dream, or the dream of the planet. The dream of the planet is a collective dream of billions of smaller personal dreams. Now, you have to read it all to understand, but basically what he's saying is we learn how to behave in society, what to believe, what not to believe, what is acceptable, what is not acceptable, what is good, what is bad, what is beautiful, what is ugly, right? You didn't choose your religion or your moral values. They were already there before you were born. We never had the opportunity to choose what to believe or what not to believe. We never even chose the smallest of these agreements. We didn't even choose our own name. And he calls this whole process, if you read that whole thing, is the domestication of humans. And I think that's so like fascinating, because again, this also goes into all of our, like, when we talked about dogs, right? Like the importance that we place on dogs and, how we domesticate our animals, but are we not domesticating ourselves? Isn't that the problem, right?
Well, the funny thing about what you just read is that my thought as you were reading it was, this is for the 5%. This is not for the 95%. The 95% can't even conceptualize what you just read. That what you just read is for the 5% of people who actually may be questioning, like, how did this get started? How can we remold and shape our thought process on how we go through this life? I fully agree with author, and I think it's Deepak Chopra, isn't it?
No, not this one. This one is Don Miguel Ruiz.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I personally feel like, for instance, laws that legislate like morality are just about the dumbest laws ever created ever. And I think we were actually talking about this in our long conversation. Like, for me, and not that it's something that I use or need or any way, shape, or form, but I've often thought, like, how in the world can you make prostitution illegal, right? And I'm, again, and what I told you in this conversation was, I'm obviously not talking about children. I'm talking about consenting
Talking about
adults.
people consenting.
Yes.
And
People of age who are consenting, and it's not a situation where you're being raped or, forced to do anything above and beyond your will. How in the world can we tell someone you're not allowed to do this with your body? It has never made sense to me. I'm talking about as a young person, just 15, 16, 17, thinking about stuff like this. Like, laws don't legislate how we go about life doing the right or wrong thing. It's inside us. I know not to kill you, not because it's written down in California statutes or even because the Bible says thou shalt not murder. I know not to kill you because I know that is not the right thing. I do not have the right to take your life.
That's interesting you say that, because I have another friend, a poker friend, who he's very religious, and his belief in God is beautiful, but he talks about just, one of his major things that he talks about is that saying, like, well, how would you know what's right or wrong if you didn't have it, the church, if you didn't have God to tell you? And I can't tell him, that he's right or wrong. It's, if that's the way you learn. But to me, again, I think just like you said, is like, if you truly are listening and you're born knowing, like you're born knowing that you're not meant to just, take somebody's life. Like, you can feel it. You can feel when you're doing something wrong. It's right here.
So I would love to have a conversation with your friend and you, because I would simply ask you, Nichoel Juergens, who's not a subscriber to any sort of religion or even the concept of a one God, a monotheist. Why don't you lie to people? Like, that's a real question I'm asking you.
Why don't you lie?
Me? Yeah, I'm asking you. Why don't you lie to people?
I'm, me, I hate lying.
I know, but I need the listeners to hear
being authentic, because it's the same exact reason. You can feel it in my heart.
But
like when I feel it,
you don't feel like you don't want to or need to or have to lie because you've read a book, right? Meaning the Bible, the Quran, the Book of Mormon, whatever.
No.
You didn't come up with that conclusion that lying wasn't the way to go because of anything other than... I have a
good story about this, because this is long before, and even though I was raised Catholic, I was 4 and I was at the mall with my mom and my grandma, and we were at 2+2, which is like this little pop-up shop in the middle of the mall, and I was gonna get my ears pierced, but I didn't that day. But we're in there, and they had little pins that you pin on your shirt, right? And there's different pictures on them, and one of them was Michael Jackson. It was literally like this size. It was a little one, and Michael Jackson on it. And I was 4, and I loved Billie Jean. I was like, oh, I love Michael Jackson, and I wanted it. I was like, Mom, I want this pin. She's like, no. I was like, and I took it, and I knew that minute I took it was wrong. Not because my mom said no,
right?
I could feel it in my heart. I knew so much that by the time we got almost outside the door of the mall, I showed my mom. I was like, oh, look what I got. Oh, and she, you gotta know my mom, but she was like, oh, hell no. She grabbed my arm and dragged me all the way back through there. She just didn't give it back. She made me give it back to her, and I'm crying. Oh, sorry. But I knew even before all that, like, that will also reinforce that what you're doing is wrong. But even before all that, I knew, and it wasn't because God told me, or it wasn't because any book told me, or any religion or anything. I was 4. It was, and you can feel it, and maybe if you're not paying attention, or you have a habit of disregarding your feelings or what's inside, you'll begin to not know, but it's there. I think we're born with it.
There are just basic tenets that come with being born into this world, a human being. I don't care how smart you are, how not smart you are, how rich you are, how poor you are. There are certainly dilemmas that can confound man. And for that, maybe someone like me, I pray, I talk to people that I trust. I can't tell you how many times I've bounced things off of you when we've taken our little breaks and just walked outside. This is when we were probably first getting to know each other, and I just bounced certain things off of you and whatever. So there are certainly situations where you need help to find the way. But when it comes to just the basic, like, this is right, this is wrong, I really feel like there's just a certain percentage of the population that probably is almost not even able to be measured, like sociopaths that don't really understand what's really right and what's wrong. And for the overwhelming lion's share of people just know what's right and wrong. And maybe sort of circling back, maybe that's a big reason why people almost feel like, you know how you see like a huge flock of birds in the air, right? And it's so cool because they're all making their turns together, and they're, it's like, how do 1,000 birds know when to turn right and then turn left? But I guess if you studied them, there's probably like one or two in front that are making the moves, and it's so like the thought process is so quick, they're all able to do it in what seems like tandem, but they're really just following someone. But anyway, I digress. Maybe people are just like that, in terms of there's always going to be 5% of people that are making the lefts and the rights, and 95% of the people behind them are just going to be following, because it's like genetic. It's like just written on the DNA to like be in tandem with everyone else, as opposed to be your own person.
Or maybe
and I think for someone like
sometimes
you,
Mhm.
go ahead, go.
Or maybe sometimes you in life you make your choice to be, the 5% or the 95% at some time. Maybe sometimes life is just so overpowering sometimes, and you just like, just need to be in the 95% right now. maybe that's where I'm getting confused. I'm just like, are we free? I don't know.
Well, let me just close with this. I'm
Okay.
going to close today.
Please do,
Yes, let me just tell you a couple things.
because we've gone far enough down.
You're
drowning.
We're drowning. No, we're drowning. Can't breathe. No breathing. Listen, okay, you absolutely have to be an individual. There's no choice for you. You cannot.
You're talking about me personally?
I'm talking about Nicole Jergens.
I know.
Okay.
I mean, I say all this, but
That's why
I can't.
like,
nobody can tell me
right
what to do.
Exactly. Like you will blow up half of Southern California if it ever came down to it. So you're just absolutely an individual. And in fact, probably a lot of our growing together as friends has been the fights and friction, because we're both very individual, and neither one of us is going to be like, oh, okay, because you said so. No, I mean, we're like, whatever, I love you, but you're stupid, so shut up. So that's the first thing. The second thing is just, I cannot be more happy in what you've done for me this weekend. What you've done for me is greater than you made t-shirts for us. You've paid for lunches and dinners, and just, you've done so much nice stuff for me. And this is the kindest, just best gift you have ever just wrapped up, handed to me, and said, here, friend, here. I appreciate you today. I appreciate you. Everybody else should appreciate you. And because of that, you're going to be blessed.
You're welcome. That's all we need to say about that.
That's it.
I will tell you more about my further Avengers episodes when I watch them, but I think
we have to watch Endgame together.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm just, once you've gotten to the point where you've gotten up to Endgame,
we should watch it. We should live stream it. We should watch it while we were talking.
Sitting on the couch crying. And you're just looking at me like,
oh, wow, really?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah. Just like we had to watch Bad Boys, we have to watch Endgame in each other's presence. Bring the Kleenex.
Okay. Again, if gender is a spectrum, don't let anybody tell you men and women are just black and white. Do not let anybody tell you that. If gender is a spectrum, you could be anywhere on that spectrum. All right. You do you, Michael Moore. You do you. All right. We're all free. It's been decided.
You're free. We're all free.
Heart,
be free.
Use your brain. Be free. Don't let Loki come down and step on us. That's some bullshit.
Yes. Love one another. We can do some things together.
That's right. All right. We'll see you next time.
Bye.